rapid departure of the Mesa military created great unrest throughout the Mesaverse. Those left behind to defend everything humanity called home found themselves without their leader and without the strength of the elite forces they had enjoyed for so long. There were also those who had always felt trapped and longed to go back to Earth to re-establish a connection stolen from them 162 years ago. The overwhelming Mesa military force had complete control over safe travel to Earth, until now. Those defiant few who wouldn't have dared risk it all on an unsanctioned spaceflight were now looking at a golden opportunity to return home. The Mesa military, to their credit, had arrived dutifully on time as instructed. General Cullen eagerly awaited the arrival of Dr. Norman and paid little attention to her absence. Her order had been clear, to remain in position until she arrived. So the fleet turned to face the strange new planet and waited. Some sort of weather event caught the general's eye, and he suddenly felt very exposed. Loyal to a fault, General Cullen wondered if Dr. Norman was okay before being obliterated, along with the rest of the military company. The civilization on Aru was ancient, and Dr. Norman was finally home. For the past 460 years, she had been completing her planetary takeover of Earth. That was her final test before being accepted as an Aru elder. Successful civilization domination. She had achieved it by offering amazing solutions to problems she had helped create in the first place. Aru technology was highly advanced when compared with human achievements, and Dr. Norman used this fact to gain control. Firstly, to secretly change Earth's environment to become more unstable. Then to save the planet and humanity with the gravity engine that allowed the humans to live off Earth while the planet healed. They thought they had been saved, but in reality they had lost everything, and they had offered it all so willingly. Dr. Cheryl Norman had passed the test, and now planet Earth was hers for the taking. Conrad Feng had a feeling that his window of opportunity was closing. The Mesa military had disappeared through the portal, but the portal remained open, which meant they could return at any time. It was now or never. Earth seemed so close, and yet with such precious cargo, it couldn't have felt further away. Ever since they were young, Conrad had promised his children that one day he would take them home to Earth. But to get there, you had to cross the Void. 2 long hours of exposure where their ship would usually be detected immediately. However, it was the Mesa military who monitored the Void, and right now they weren't watching. Conrad wasn't alone in wanting to fly home, and others had started leaving for Earth already. Nobody had expected the elite Mesa forces to come back through the portal so soon, let alone a formidable-looking foreign armada. Fear swept across the Mesaverse in the face of this unknown arrival. Was this a part of Dr. Norman's plan? Humanity held its breath as they waited to see what would happen next. But some weren't going to hang around to find out. Conrad Feng was fully committed now to flying across the Void. He didn't like the look of the new arrivals at all, and this served to harden his resolve. It was time to go. Upon Detective Garrett Grimstone's arrival on Planet Exile, he was greeted personally by Spearhead Commander Devon Shaw. Commander Shaw had a soft spot for discipline and authority, so he treated the detective as an honored guest and spared no expense. Grimstone's search for Lichtenberg ended very quickly. The commander had confirmed that Lichtenberg lived on Exile, assured the detective that Lichtenberg would be back soon enough, and he was welcome to stay on while he waited. Grimstone was overdue a holiday, so he was making the most of his time on Exile and getting some well-earned rest until he could hear Lichtenberg's side of the story. Then, during one meeting between Grimstone and Commander Shaw, alarms started to sound. Something was very wrong. The Aru force's arrival through the portal was displayed on a monitor. And at the very moment that the detective and the commander were witnessing the invasion from afar, Lichtenberg finally came home to Planet Exile. Detective Grimstone had spent his whole life on Mesa 21. Born and raised in a little town on the Green, he had big dreams of going to work in the city. As soon as he was old enough, he joined the District 2 police force, where he worked tirelessly to defend his people. Now it looked like Mesa 21 was in real trouble, and Grimstone was too far away to help. Some days are worse than others. Harriet Sinclair knew this. Living on the streets of Mesa 21 had taught her a lot. At least today it wasn't raining, and she had just found a kipper for her dog Scraps. A good day. The city seemed to have come to a standstill, so Harriet used this opportunity to hurry to her favorite shelter for the night. She felt sure her and Scraps would get a room. It all just went to show that you never quite know what a day will bring. Mesa 21 had been destroyed. The foreign armada had arrived through the portal and immediately opened fire. Even though the threat remained, heroic rescuers from nearby mesas were flying into the debris field to look for survivors. Detective Grimstone needed answers. He felt cold, empty. But a fierce rage was building up inside of him. Lichtenberg knew something, and Grimstone was gonna get it out of him one way or another. He stormed out to find the bounty hunter. When he returned unsuccessful to Commander Shaw, he found him talking to Lichtenberg. Shaw could see the detective was almost out of control, so immediately let him know what Lichtenberg had told him. Dr. Cheryl Norman held all the answers, and if Grimstone wanted to get to the bottom of this, he needed to get a moment alone with her. Everything the Feng family had known as home had been turned to dust. just moments after they had left Mesa 21, there was a great flash behind them. All gone. Just like that. The family knew they were lucky to be alive, but they weren't out of danger yet. Conrad hoped that if they stayed ahead of the blast radius, then they would have a clear path to Earth. Neither Conrad, Lucy, or Marshall Fang knew what to expect if they made it that far. They just hoped for the best and took it one step at a time. Detective Grimstone was preparing his flight suit for the journey home. Lichtenberg, the bounty hunter, had heard reports of a nearby sighting of the infamous and highly wanted escaped prisoner Ryan King. The government group Spearhead ran the prison planet and regularly conducted genetic modifications on its worst inmates. Half man, half lion, Ryan King was a Spearhead experiment gone wrong, and the hunter in Lichtenberg couldn't resist such formidable game. Lichtenberg was gone. It was time for the detective to find out what had led to the destruction of his home planet, and what Dr. Cheryl Norman had to do with it.